Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. Go to squarespace.com/Heaton. Okay, let's get up. It's day 3 now on the Isle of Harris, and the wind has been relentless. For 3 days the wind has been incredible. Last night and this morning it's particularly bad. And coupled with this, I woke up to grey skies. So it's really difficult to be inspired when you don't have the best night's sleep, and then you wake up to just grey skies and really strong winds. That it just makes everything difficult. So I was a bit sad this morning to see such poor weather, but I am going to have some breakfast and do some more exploring and really try and make the most of it. I do hope for some nice colourful skies during my time here, and I'm sure that will happen. So for now, I think it's time to move on to another beach, explore, and see if I can find more compositions and actually use this bad weather and these moody skies to my advantage. So when I came onto the beach this morning, my impressions were that there wasn't much of an image to be had here. I just wasn't feeling very inspired, and that's because of the wind and the rain and the grey skies. And I filmed my piece to camera, and I was about to move on, maybe get some breakfast and explore somewhere else. And just as I was packing up and leaving, I noticed this fantastic bend in the river, which I explored yesterday, but because of the changing tides, there wasn't an image to be had. But now the tide's receding, and it's opening up a lot more shape in the shoreline. And by coming up high, you can really start to see the fantastic curves as where the beach meets the water. And the water's so blue and the sand is so lovely and white, it makes for a fantastic image. And by composing it with a fairly tight crop and using an exposure of about 5 seconds, I can make a wonderful abstract image. And like I always say with landscape photography, if you're struggling with light, the next best thing is find anything that is lovely and curvy and leads you into the image. And that is what we have here. F13, 5 seconds with a polarizer and a 3-stop ND filter. After that morning's photo shoot, I had a lot of time to do some thinking, so I put the kettle on, made a cup of tea, and I had to decide whether or not I was going to stay on the Isle of Harris. The weather report was not looking good for the following 2 or 3 days. In fact, it was looking like it was going to get a lot worse. So what happened on the beach next cemented my decision to call this the last day of my trip to Scotland. And that is the G5X broken. That fall seems to have caused irreversible damage. When I turn the camera on, you can see it says lens error, will shut down automatically. That's a shame. It's taken the same fate as my G7X. Both of them fell, both of them damaged. I think I'll send this one to Canon to see if they can repair it. But that's a shame, because that's had it for this trip. Well, I have found this amazing beach, and unlike all of the other beaches that I've been on, this one has a massive swell. So I've got huge breakers crashing just offshore. The water's fantastically blue, the sand is just incredibly yellow, and then we have these, well, obviously we have these dark, moody grey skies. That's it, all it seems we've had, but that's okay. I love a bit of dark, moody skies. So I'm just trying to make an image here using the mountains in the background, the crashing waves, the yellow sand, and the shapes formed as the waves come up the beach, sit there for a second, and then recede back into the water. Now, you'll see with my camera here, it's not pointing straight out, so it's not square onto the shoreline, it's at an angle. It's looking 45 degrees across the shoreline, and that is for compositional reasons, because what that does is rather than it giving me straight lines horizontally, it actually gives me triangles and more of a leading line, which is great for composition and just makes for a more pleasing image to the eye. And this photograph is all about shapes, movement, texture, elements, that kind of thing. There's not really much of a subject. It's a lot more abstract than that. And I've got to say, I'm rather enjoying it, aside from the fact that it's windy as hell and really cold. This beach is just something else. So with this type of photography, it's all about timing, right? You just got to wait for the right wave. So what I'm waiting for is a wave to come rolling up the beach, whilst at the same time the waves in the background break. We might be on here, hang on. Here we go. And then it's just take a series of pictures, because you've got no control over what's happening. Absolutely no control over what's happening in your frame. You've just got to use it and make the most of it. And if you take enough pictures as the waves, as the waves break, that was a big one. If you take enough photographs as the waves crash over, then you're bound to get at least one that you're happy with. It's not the kind of situation where you can calmly sit and wait for your opportune moment. I mean, you can, but you can't predict them. You never know what's going to happen. I'm shooting this scene with a polarizer, a 2-stop medium edge grad, and a 2-stop ND filter, and that's giving me a shutter speed of about 1/4 of a second when on f13, and that's just right to capture the motion in the breaking waves, but still retain detail as the water sits on the beach. Well, I think that's it. That's about me done with the Isle of Harris. Now, to reflect on my time here, I would say it's been emotional. It's been difficult. It's been one of my more difficult trips. We've had relentless winds of 20 to 30 mile an hour consistently, which has made photography difficult, because what happens is when you're shooting on the coast, it blows the sand across the beach, and that sand gets on all your gear and your bag and your filters. Every piece of my gear is covered in sand. The weather in terms of light has been quite poor. By far the best day's light was my first day, but unfortunately I didn't know the area, so I didn't know. I was basically probably not in the best place to take advantage of the light, which is a great shame. It's taken me 3 days to just about get a handle on the lay of the land, and that's just like a 5-mile stretch of coastline. I've barely scratched the surface of the Isle of Harris, and I will be back. It's absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous, but my time here has been difficult, mainly because of the lack of light and the intense wind, which doesn't just make photography difficult. Camping was also a nightmare as well. Cooking, sleeping with the tent rattling in the wind is always a challenge. But I also love it, I also love it. I don't know. Yeah. One day we'll do a video on a lovely calm summer's day. That'll be amazing. Sadly, I didn't get to break out the large format camera. Again, it was the wind. I haven't been in one photography location during this trip where I've not been buffeted by 20-mile-an-hour winds. It's been pretty brutal, if I'm honest. So all in all, I've enjoyed it, but it's also been one of my more difficult trips. But hey, that's landscape photography. You know, that's the beauty of it. You're never gonna really tap into an area on a short 3 or 4 day trip. You really need to return again and again and again. And that's part of the excitement. When you come to these places, you see something new every time, and that's brilliant. That's why we do it. So yeah, I think I'm done. I'd like to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this channel. Squarespace are an all-in-one platform when you go and you build your website. They've got 24/7 customer service and award-winning templates. So if you need a website, go to squarespace.com/Heaton and start your free trial. And if you like your free trial, use the offer code Heaton for 10% off your first purchase. Right, that's it. That's me done. Until next time, bye for now.